How you doing? I'm doing good. Are you doing good? I hope you're doing good because guess what, everybody? The Hotwire starts now.
Are you ready? I'm ready. Live on Revolution Radio, please welcome the hosts of the Hotwire, Tommy Knox.
Oh yeah, it's me, the one, the only, the incomparable Tommy Knox. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so happy to be back on the air. You know, my week really sucks without you guys. I mean, it really sucks without you guys. I go like through depression waves during the week because I can't talk to my favorite fucking peeps, the Hotwire universe. So, welcome back to another edition. We are in Reno, Nevada today, just 2 days away from Climax Control, which is going to be at the Lex nightclub. I believe that's what it's called, right? The Lex nightclub. All right. Sounds like a lot of fun if you ask me. I like nightclubs. Look for the dude in the backwards Mets hat sipping on champagne during the matches because that's me. And we're going to get right into it, guys. We're going to get right into everybody's favorite segment, the mailbag. Mailbag. Wow. Mailbag. Thank you so much, guys, for submitting your questions, the ones that you did. The ones that did not, get off your asses and send Tommy Knox some questions. Stop being lazy. Okay, very first question. Allison Nettles from Portland, Oregon. Who faces the most pressure at Summer Extreme in the main event? Crystal Miller, Jesse Salco, or Kira Fisher Johnson? Ooh, good question. Jesse, not so much. I mean, Jesse won a match to get in. She has no expectations going into this match. She's never been a World Bombshell champion. Best of my knowledge, she's never had an opportunity there. So there isn't really anything to live up to. By far and away, Crystal has the most pressure because she's got to defend against 5 other women. And this is a tough spot for anyone to be in. The good news for her is it's not like a triple threat or a fatal 4-way. From what I understand, it will be elimination in some way. So she will have to get pinned. So at least she'll have that last line of defense. Does Kira Fisher Johnson face any pressure? I was going to save this for later in the week. Every once in a while, I get so pent up at something, I have to do a What's Eating Tom segment. So we're going to do a What's Eating Tom segment this week. And What's Eating Tom? Kira Fisher Johnson. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to give you the whole scope, okay? So Kira Fisher Johnson was a very good roulette champion. Nothing great, but she was very good, entertaining, good competitor. She cashed in that contract, right, and won the belt. She is one of the greatest tag team wrestlers ever. Right? Think about that for a second. Not just in Sin City Wrestling, ever. Right? I believe that. Let that sink in for a moment. Okay? Not only that, she was one half of arguably the best tag team that SCW has ever seen or will ever see. Right? It's probably a toss-up between Team Hero and Sinful Obsession for that award. She defeated a future Hall of Famer, Roxy Johnson, her wife, to get into this match. And despite all the conspiracy theories online, I don't think that Roxy gave it up to her. I think Roxy legitimately lost, which means Kira Fisher Johnson legitimately beat her. Okay, so she deserves to be in this match, right? So Wow, Tom, all that stuff you're saying seems to be pretty nice. So, what's eating Tom? What's going on? Well, I'll tell you what's eating Tom. On Twitter, Kira declared herself the number one contender for the World Bombshell Championship. So, let that sink in for a minute, right? She's in a match with five other women, one of which is champion, right? Which gives you five contenders, right? Five contenders, five people challenging for the title. Let's break them down for a minute, right? Sam Marlowe, former World Bombshell champion, never got her rematch. All right. Mercedes Vargas, all right. Grand Slam champion, former World Bombshell champion, never got her rematch. Micah, okay. Not only is she a former bombshell World Bombshell champion that hasn't got her rematch, she also just pinned 1, 2, 3 Crystal Miller, who is the World Bombshell champion, in a non-title match. Okay, so those are your first three. Okay, so let's just toss them up in the air in no indiscriminate order. Those are 1, 2, and 3. Number one, number two, and number three contenders. Okay, that leaves Kira Fisher Johnson and Jesse Salco. Okay, who's to say that Jesse Salco doesn't have more of a claim on that title, that contendership, right? She's a Triple Crown winner. She's been with the company longer. She was an internet champion, right? 3-time tag team champion, former roulette champion. So, to me, I don't know on paper who's number 4, who's number 5. I mean, I'll say Kira had a tougher opponent to get into the match. Okay, so let's give her that. Let's call her the number 4 contender for the World Bombshell Championship. Okay? I have a problem with people on Twitter, not just Kira, people in general making these statements on I'm the number 1 contender. I deserve this. I deserve that. Until you win something, you don't deserve shit, okay? And until Kira beats Sam Marlowe or Micah or Mercedes Vargas one-on-one in the ring, she's not the number 1 contender for the World Bombshell Championship. It's just straightforward. It's nothing. No slight on Kira. Okay? Because Kira is, again, one of the greatest tag team wrestlers ever, not just in SCW, ever. Former very good roulette champion. Okay? Quite possibly will be a World Bombshell champion one day. It might even be on July 31st at Summer Extreme 4. All right? But she's not the number 1 contender. Okay? We need to clarify that. All right? All right. Number. Next question. Phil Miller from Irvine, California. So everyone is somewhat familiar with the whole Brexit mess and the fallout. What's the most shocking case of a wrestler leaving SCW? I don't really bother myself with people just up and leaving. All right, we almost had one with Lord Rob recently. Who really cares, right? If you're not going to stick around here, you don't deserve to be here. Bada boom, move on. Okay, Madeline Richards, Sunflower, Mississippi. I like that, Sunflower. Favorite climax control moment over the last 150 episodes? Wow, that's not a question I think I can answer right away. First thing that comes up in mind is the very first show after SCW left the National Wrestling Alliance. There was so much solidarity with SCW. It was moving. Okay, like Sinful Obsession, Gabriel, and Despair were the World Tag Team Champions in NWA. They stayed with SCW. Spike Staggs, of course, staying. Nick Jones, of course, staying. Drake Green leaving the National Wrestling Alliance. Okay, cutting his affiliation. Right, remember he was the Empire State Champion at BACW at the time. Left the alliance. All right, and stood strong with SCW. So that was a powerful episode for me. Next one, Leanne Katzman, Chicago, Illinois. What advice would you give to aspiring, celebrated journalists such as yourself? Whoa, Leanne, from Chi-Town, right, from the second city. You are the second city. Let's not forget about that. Aspiring, celebrated. There is no aspiring and celebrated. Okay, you have everyone who is aspiring, and you have me who's celebrated. If you're aspiring, advice I have to you is keep your nose to the ground. All right, don't take any shit from anybody. Make sure you tell it like it is, okay? And always, always, always love what you do, okay? Always, because that's important. Right? Tommy Knox never works a day in his life because he just fucking loves what he does. Shirley Young in Warrensburg, Missouri. I'm a huge fan of The Fallen. Whatever happened to Gothica and Rainin, and do you think they'll be back in SCW soon? Their contract did run out. It was not renewed. I'm not sure if that was an SCW decision or a Fallen decision. I do think they'll be back. They are or were mainstays for a long time, and they'll probably just cycle back at some point, I would imagine. Next question. This is Gary from the Netherlands, and I got 2 questions. All right, Gary from the Netherlands. Let's hear them. 1. What is your beef with Dimitri? Beef with Dimitri. Last week you called the team of them, and by them I'm assuming he means Dimitri and James Siskini, the Unholy Alliance, an inferior team to Bad Company, who at the moment they faced them only had one match under their belt. I'm sorry, Bad Company only had one match under their belt. Excuse me. You hyped the entire tag team division, give props to the Aquins, while the team they did win was merely mentioned as inferior, while Tuskini is on fire. Does Dimitri make this team inferior? And if so, then please why? Okay, let's answer question number 1. I said they were an inferior team, all right, not inferior performers or competitors. I believed at the time, right, that Bad Company would win. I believed that they were a better, solid unit. And you know what? If they both showed up to work and gave a fuck, they would be. But guess what? Neither of them seemed interested enough in winning a match. So not only did they lose to the Unholy Alliance, they also lost to another inferior team, the Aquins. So don't take it as a slight towards Dimitri, right? Dimitri has accomplished a lot in a very short period of time. However, you know how I feel about people losing their titles in their first defenses, but that's another conversation. Tuskini is on fire, right? One of the better roulette champions we've had in a long time, right? I think he's got a legitimate chance to beat Equinox's record. Excuse me, Equinox and Goth's record, because they have tied. But no, I have no slight on Dimitri, and I'm sorry if it was perceived that way. We were talking strictly as a team. Okay? Question number 2. Where does Goth stand when it comes down to Hall of Fame mentions? In the past shows, I hear you mention names like Drake Green and many others. Is Goth not a big name, or is he just not good enough to be inducted, in your opinion? Actually, believe it or not, I was having a conversation with someone shortly after last week's show when the question was asked that you're referring to, and I had a mental gaffe, and I didn't mention Goth. Goth should be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I believe he will be in just a few months. Keep in mind, guys, when I read these questions, I do not pre-screen them. Okay, I don't go through them and cherry pick them and answer the ones I want to answer and think of answers beforehand. They come up and I answer them. So sometimes, unfortunately, I might forget to mention someone or something, and if I do, it is not personal. It's not like I feel you are not good enough to be mentioned. You know, my brain can only process so much information so quickly. So I apologize. Not only do I apologize to Gary from the Netherlands, but I also apologize to Goth himself. Next question. Eric in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Eric, my boy, becoming a regular. I like it. First off, welcome home to the crew of the HMCS Fredericton, who arrived back in Halifax on July 5th after a 7-month deployment. Absolutely. Welcome back. Anyone who puts their life on the line to protect and serve their country has my utmost respect, even if it's Canada. All right? So thank you, guys. Thank you, boys and ladies, and welcome home. Now to your question, Eric. With tag team wrestling making a huge impact in SCW recently, are you surprised there's no team from the 7 Deadly Sins looking for a shot at the tag titles? I'm not, because they don't really have any tag team wrestlers active. I can't see Rage or Shipman really teaming with anybody. Despair obviously has got other things on his plate. Gabriel, from what we understand, is not currently active and will not be active. So really, that doesn't leave anybody to go after these belts. So I'm not surprised, and that's your answer. I hope I answered it well, Eric. Thank you for continuing to send in your questions. I appreciate it. Speaking of regulars, Andy in Atlanta, my boy Andy. Your question. Since Steve Ramon is a guest commentator for the Internet Championship match between Rage and Marcus Reeves, do you think there will be interference on the part of Ramon since he feels he should be in the match instead of Reeves? Yeah, I do. Yes, of course. KCC from Nashua, also another regular. I like this. I like the regulars coming in. What are your thoughts on Casey Williams first aligning himself with James Tischini to jointly attack Chris Shipman, just for Casey to be back in back in J2H's side, dealing with a new challenger for J2H's title, and Casey's recent adversary in Dimitri, who is James Tischini's tag team partner? Wow, that was a mouthful. We're going to get to the Dimitri and J2H thing later, so I'll answer that later. And Casey Williams, look, he's made it clear what he's doing, right? Right? He's J2H's boy, for better or worse right now, and that's what he's doing. And it can only be good for him. It cannot be bad. To align himself next to the World Heavyweight Champion is a good thing. And look, we're still talking about Casey. We've been talking about Casey every week, okay? And he's making the right decisions as far as I'm concerned. Ariel Leaks in Davenport, Iowa. Wrestling, and more wrestling. I absolutely love it. I do wish we could see more interactions backstage with bombshells and superstars. Give me a fucking break. But to keep this a wrestling question, thank you, Ariel. Jesus Christ. To keep this a wrestling question and not silly relationship ones, here's my question. Just so you know, Ariel, if this was a relationship question, I wouldn't have answered it. And I would have been very mean to you. Okay? Anyway, your question. Which bombshells wrestling style do you like the most? And which superstar style do you like the most? That's a good question. We know I'm a big fan of Micah. Amy Marshall, actually, is her moveset's pretty fun to watch. And I think one of the better technical wrestlers on the roster, male or female, is Mercedes Vargas. As far as superstars go, I'm a big Drake Green fan inside the ring. Not a huge fan of the guy in real life, but I heard he's a douchebag. His style is pretty good. It kind of meshes that submission, Japanese strong style, technical. I mean, he's pretty good. J2H Despair is always fun to watch. All right, I can't remember one bad Despair match. I would also say that someone who doesn't come up very often, Casey Williams. He's a big guy, but he moves pretty well for a big guy. He's fun to watch as well. There's lots of them. I don't think I can narrow it down to one. But I thank you for your question, Ariel. And thank you for keeping it about wrestling. Noah Williams in Pocatello, Idaho. I'm so excited for Summer Extreme, and with the announcement of J2H vs. Despair 2 and a 2 out of 3 falls has me even more excited. I know that you love J2H, but what if Despair wins? What is one thing that you think he will bring to the table as champion? Look, it's entirely possible that Despair wins. There's no reason why he can't win. He's a great competitor, and he's a good challenger. What could he bring to the table as a champion? Some of the same stuff, believe it or not, that J2H brings. Good wrestling, right? Confident in his abilities. A lot of fun to watch. Different kind of fun, but a lot of fun to watch. So I would absolutely welcome a Despair title run. Absolutely. Jameson Watkins in Youngstown, Ohio. Climax Control had a lot of good matches. He capitalized LOT, by the way. A lot of good matches last Sunday. It was hard for me to pick my favorite, and I know that you will get into your review of the show much later, so I'll ask this. We saw Micah once again beat Crystal Miller in their match, and it seems to me that Micah is back to what she has once been. Do you think that Micah will always have Crystal's number? I do. At this point, you have to think Crystal just can't beat her, right? I mean, you have to, because she's had multiple opportunities. She's come close a couple times. Back when Micah was champion, non-title matches when neither one was champion, and of course this past week. But no, at this point, I don't think Crystal has what it takes to beat Micah right now. Maybe in a year from now, who knows? But not right now. And I tell you what, I bet you Crystal is sick of trying. I'll tell you that much. Amelia Vincent in Dover, New Hampshire. I love the bombshells, and I completely agree with you when you say that SCW has the best bombshells around. I know you've said your favorite bombshell before, but has it changed as of right now in this moment of time? And I'm not talking looks-wise. We all know you love Sam Marlowe. I do love Sam. I love Sam. Who's my favorite? I don't have favorites, okay? I mean, I do, but I'm not going to talk favorites here who I root for, because that's just not what a celebrated journalist and analyst does. But the bombshells have tons of talent, and it would be hard for me to pick a favorite anyway. Hadley Erickson in Cape May, New Jersey. New Jersey, things are getting excited for Summer Extreme 4. We already know about the Bombshell Championship match and the World Heavyweight Championship match. What are the odds Crystal Miller and J2H walking out of the show as champion, and how do I get tickets? You can buy tickets on scwrestling.net or through Ticketmaster, StubHub, Tickets Now, wherever the third-party sites are out there. I'm not going to answer the other part of your question, right? That's a little too close to what we call our prediction show before the show, but thank you for your question. Connor Mickelson in Roswell, New Mexico. Who's one bombshell you would like to see more of? And who's one bombshell you'd like to see less of? And then one superstar you'd like to see more of, and one superstar. I mean, come on. I'd like to see more Ben Jordan. I mean, as much as I enjoy Team BJ, and I will talk about them later, I can't wait for Ben to have a solid singles run. Who do I like to see? There's no one that I like to see less of. I like to see more of TNA. I'm glad he's back on TV. Bombshells, it's all the same. I'd like to see more of Evie Bang. If you can get me more Evie Bang on TV, I'd be really, really, really happy. Okay, I love me some Evie Bang. All right, Lauren Bradley in Lake Tahoe, Nevada. I love the show, and I love you, Lauren. Thank you. I swear I saw Dre Green and Micah go into the gym that my father owns on Sunday. I was too scared to go up to them to ask, but it was so cool to see them around, and Micah seemed really chill. Sorry to ramble. No, you're not. Don't lie, Lauren. Sorry to ramble. I was just so excited. Now to the question. Whoa! There's a fucking question in here, Lauren? I'm surprised. I would really like to see SCW mix it up a bit, and even though I enjoy seeing Micah versus Crystal, I'm a little bored of seeing Micah beat her all the time. Burn! Who would you book against Micah, and who would you book against Crystal to make it more fresh? Well, here's the great thing. We have 6 competitors all vying for the same title, right? So we have options. I would love to see Micah 101 against Kira Fisher-Johnson. Would love it. Versus Jesse Salco. I'd love to see Crystal versus Jesse. Crystal versus Crystal. Crystal versus Crystal. Crystal versus Kira. Don't forget about Sam and Mercedes. So there's lots of options there. So I think, good question. I like it. Thank you, Lauren, for listening. Rodney Tyler in Springdale, Arkansas. Love the show and love SCW like most people. I loved the show last week, but I was a little confused about Dimitri wanting a shot at J2H's title. What is it with people thinking they can just demand title shots? You know what? Let's do What's Eating Tom round 2. Okay, what is Eating Tom? Again, it's people just randomly demanding title shots. Okay? Like Roxy Johnson, right? To me, one of the greatest tag team wrestlers of all time, future SCW Hall of Famer. But again, she demands a title shot and she gets it. Okay, I'm not saying she doesn't deserve it, because I think she should get whatever she wants. Okay, but she should still just be put in a position to earn it. Right? What's wrong with earning title shots these days? What's just handing them out? Right? J2H started a trend with his open challenges But again, that's bothering me. And thank you for the question, Rodney. You're right. Dimitri, to me, won the internet title. Okay, lost it immediately, but he won it. Okay, is he possibly a future project world heavyweight champion? Absolutely. I think he's got a ton of talent. Okay, but to me, just especially the world heavyweight championship, you don't walk out and say I want a shot and get one. Okay, so at least as of right now, he hasn't gotten one. And you know what? Look, he's a talent. I have enjoyed watching him. Put him in position to earn it, right? Let him face off with a Kane or a Steve Ramone or a whoever and earn the shot. What's wrong with that? I don't know. Maybe I'm old school. Fuck if I know. Rachel Tomlinson in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. I'm so excited. My mom said that if I could figure out how to get tickets to Summer Extreme 4, that we could go. Do you know how to go about doing that? We just answered that question. If you weren't listening, I'm sorry. Go rewind. And here's a wrestling question to apologize for an idiotic question. It was. Good cover up there, Rachel. Whose finisher in SCW do you absolutely love, and whose do you absolutely hate? I don't know if I absolutely hate anyone's, but the first one that always pops in my mind is Black Rose Overdrive, Mercedes Vargas. Paisley Baker in Henning, Minnesota. I love wrestling. Everyone who sends a question and seems to just fucking love wrestling. I've gone to a few climax controls and I absolutely love the atmosphere there. Definitely the best out there. I wish that there were more bombshells and superstars that use submission holds as their finishers to win their matches. So here's my 3-part question. And in parentheses, Paisley puts, I apologize in advance. Well, I apologize in advance for telling you you're a fucking asshole. Send in 1 question or send in 3. Don't send in 3-part questions, okay? It's just confusing. It ruins the flow. And quite honestly, it doesn't make sense to send 3 separate questions. You know what? Like Gary from the Netherlands had 2 questions. He didn't squish them into 1. He asked me 2 questions. Okay? I'm sorry. Sorry. Lots of things are eating Tom tonight, huh? All right, what's the first one? What's your favorite submission hold? My favorite of all time is the sharpshooter. Love it. Just fucking love it. Who's the best superstar at submission holds? I don't really know the answer to that question. Who's the best and who's the best bombshell? They all do some really good stuff, and I'm not going to answer that question now. Colton Roberts in Raleigh, North Carolina. I love most of the bombshells because they're beautiful and they know how to kick ass. But the one bombshell that I cannot stand is Veronica Taylor. I have a 2-part question. Give me a fucking break. 2-part question. All right. Is she really that annoying backstage? And how the fuck do you get her to shut up and stop using the words basics, uggo, and hunty? Because if I hear those words again, I might bash my skull. Well, do me a favor, Colton, and bash your fucking skull in next time you want to ask me a 2-part question. I'm sorry, that was mean. Don't do that. Don't kill yourself. Maybe just cut yourself a little bit. Look, I don't know Veronica Taylor personally, but I'm pretty sure it's not an act. So my best hypothesis would be yes, she is that annoying in person. And people have tried for years to figure out what the fuck a hunty is. I've looked up multiple dictionaries, multiple languages, and I can't figure it out. And by the way, you might as well pick up that rock now because she's not going to stop. Trevor Smith from Bushnell, Florida. Last week we saw J2H and Dimitri have an in-ring confrontation. Do you think Dimitri is the rightful contender to the SCW World Heavyweight Championship? Going back to what I said before, no, he's not a contender at all. Put him in a position to earn it, and he will be. Gregory Hamilton from Valdosta, Georgia. I've been to Valdosta before. People are like, they hear Valdosta, Georgia, and they're like, where the fuck is that? I've been there. It's just south of Atlanta, right? In between Atlanta and Moultrie. Really nice place. The past Climax Control, we saw the return of Travis Nathaniel Andrews. Where do you see him getting placed for the Summer Extreme pay-per-view? I see him getting placed in a position to probably earn an internet title shot. Excuse me, just taking a sip of water. I think he's back too late or too soon, some people may say, to get a shot at a title at this pay-per-view. I would say there's maybe a 10% chance we see a Drake Green rematch, but I'm pretty sure we know where Drake Green is headed for Summer Extreme. Vanessa Green from Long Island, New York. Strong Island! What up? If you were to make a top 10 list for the SCW Bombshell, who would be on it? I'm not going to do that. There's a lot of people that would be on it. Most of them would be in contention. The top of the heap would be Micah. I'll leave it at that. Zeus Slavic from Bern, Switzerland. Switzerland. International questions coming today. I like it. I like it a lot. Hello, Tommy. We in Switzerland love your show. Thank you. Thank you very much, Zeus. I appreciate it. My question for you is, who is behind the mystery segments on this past Climax Control? I have no clue. It's something that I'm really, really excited about seeing next week. I really have no clue. Brittany Olson from Burbank, California. Hi, Tommy. I know you love talking about wrestling, and so do I. So my question to you is, which bombshell or superstar has more to lose come Look what I did there. From Summer Extreme. Who has the most to gain? The most to lose is Crystal Miller, right? And the most to gain, to me, Kira Fisher-Johnson, right? She's put it out there that she wants to be the World Bombshell Champion. She had declared herself the number one contender, right? Now she's got to go put her money where her mouth is. Okay. Victoria Shields from Groveland, Florida. This past Climax Control was basically like an episode of Monday Night Raw with very little happening. I know you want to see J2H and Despy again, but what match would you like to not happen at Summer Extreme? I would like to not see Rage wrestle ever again. No, I'm just totally kidding. Totally kidding. I would like to see Rage versus Steve Ramone. I would like to not see Rage versus Steve Ramone versus Kane versus Dimitri. You know what? Rage deserves a one-on-one contender, and to me, Steve Ramone deserves a one-on-one shot. I think it's a match a lot of people would pay to see. Just saying. Brian Gilbert from Webster, South Dakota. This past Climax Control, Bianca Chastain made it clear. Sorry. Lots of words here. Chastain made an appearance talking about her sister Zuri recently looking for a tag partner. My question to you is, who would you like to see team up with Zuri Chastain? Could this new team be successful? Zuri is a great competitor. I don't know if I could think of someone right off the bat that would be a good match, right? I heard there's some new talent kicking around. SCW might be expanding its roster, so who knows? But I do think anyone that pairs with her would make a great decision because Zuri's a great competitor. Okay, and the last question of the mailbag. This is a long mailbag. I appreciate that, guys. Lots of questions today. Charles Watson from London, Ontario, Canada. Canada in the house. Hello, Tommy. I would like to thank you for what you are doing for SCW. Wow. That's strong, bro. I appreciate that. I know you want to see an SCW takeover in the New England, but would you be opposed to seeing an SCW takeover in Canada? I'm going to answer this question first and then make a comment. We've been to Canada before. Something tells me we might end up in Canada again, if that's what you were going for, Charles. As far as the New England goes, look, and I'm going to give you some slack here, cut you a little slack because you're not from America. You're from America, the United States of America. You're Canadian, all right? I was born in Brooklyn, New York, okay? I'm not from New England, okay? I don't root for the Patriots, the Celtics, or the Red Sox. In fact, I would be okay if all three of them never played a game again, okay? I'm not from New England. I want a tour of New York. I want to go to Poughkeepsie. I want to go to Albany. I want to go to Strong Island. I want to go to the city. I want to go to Brooklyn, right? Maybe even Jersey, maybe a little Connecticut. I do not want to go to New England, okay? All those Tom Brady fans up there can suck on this Jet fan's cock. You heard it here first. How you doing? All right, guys, that's all we got for the mailbag. Thank you very much for your questions. I really appreciate the participation. Please send them again next week. I like that we've got more regulars coming into the show. It's a lot of fun, guys. If you're not sending questions in, stop being a lazy dick and send questions in. All right. We had a couple mentions about last week's show, so let's just dive in to last week's show. Some of the highlights. Dimitri did indeed challenge J2H, leading to J2H arranging a future non-title match for him to prove his worth. This is exactly what I'm talking about, right? Dimitri can absolutely has the ability and even the marketability to challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship, but he's got to earn it. And this is why I give props to J2H, because he's a fighting champion. He looked this Dimitri straight in the face and said, if you want it, come get some, but you got to earn it first, bro. Beautiful. Speaking of J2H, Christian did announce that Despair will take on J2H again in a 2 out of 3 falls at Summer Extreme 4. That's exciting. Take my money. Mentioned before, there were 2 mystery segments. I have no idea who's behind them, and so that kind of stuff I like. I like being teased, like being tickled a little bit, get me excited. You know what I'm saying? Casey Williams attacking Shipman and cost him a chance to win the roulette title, and then he attacked Dimitri in J2H's order. To me, Casey Williams works best when he is a brute and a mean son of a bitch, and he accomplished that on Sunday night. All right. Alana Allure, brand new SCW bombshell, and she will team with the returning Song, right? For those of you that haven't been around or haven't paid much attention, Song and Orchid, right, were a tag team, a very good tag team. I'm really excited to have Song back in the mix. Alana Allure looks like she's got a little bit of allure to her. That's right, Tommy made that pun. So this is exciting. Again, it's the summer of tag team wrestling, right? God bless these tag team divisions, because out of nowhere, all of a sudden, we have 2 of the best tag team divisions in the world. How you doing? It's exciting. I mentioned it before. TNA returns. He lit up verbally Dre Green. He lit up J2H. He lit up the world on fire. To me, TNA is such a hugely underrated star. He has the ability for the future to be the centerpiece of this organization. All right, and I hope he makes a statement with whoever he faces at Summer Extreme and gets back the loss he had at Into the Void to Drake Green. Twisted Sister beat Amy Jane. However, Amy Jane looked good. I mean, I'm not sure what happened there. It looked like she had almost like a momentary lapse. I'm a big fan of Amy Jane. I want to see her more on the shows. I think she could really be a piece of that bombshell division going forward. I'm excited about her. She's Romanian. She's sexy. You know, she's exactly what this division needs. And I hope she kind of kicks it back into higher gear. Steve Ramone and Rage brawled. Both of them were banned from ringside during Kane's match. We know how that worked out, right? Natalie McKinley accepted Kate Steele's challenge for Summer Extreme. Now, Kate Steele has to defend her title against Roxy Johnson, right? So it doesn't mean that Kate Steele versus Natalie McKinley will be for the roulette title match. For the roulette title, excuse me. But it's interesting matchup. I mean, Natalie's been on fire. We're going to talk about her a little bit later as well. But I like this matchup. This is a matchup that I would really enjoy watching. Connor Murphy defeated Kane, as we talked about. Steve Ramone's music started playing, right? And then Connor Murphy caught Kane. Connor Murphy is another one of those underrated superstars. Someone asked a question earlier about which superstar you'd like to see more of. Connor Murphy. Let's get this guy in more shows, right? People forget he came very close to being the World Heavyweight Champion a couple of times. Great competitor, a lot of fun to watch. Let's get him on TV more. Blanca Chastain revealing that Zuri is looking for a tag team partner. Obviously, we talked about that before, and she will be returning very soon, and more on that later. And then, of course, more Miles Blake and Drake Green drama. Scott Sanders now thrusted into the middle of it. It was a good show. It was a fun show, but it felt kind of inferior to the last couple of shows. I'm not exactly sure why. Hopefully that gets picked back up a little bit this week. We talked about last week's show. Let's talk about this week's show. Let's get into some predictions for this week's edition of Climax Control in Reno at the Lex nightclub. Samuel Devereaux, member of the Angel Clan, Melanie Gabrielle's baby daddy and husband, making his SCW debut against the Aussie Kale Smith. I think Samuel will win his debut. Kale is fun to me. He's a fun guy, but he's more like the Alex Rush cut. I don't think he takes life too seriously, and I think Samuel takes it really seriously. So I think Samuel will pick up his first win on Sunday. Dimitri and Casey Williams going at it. Casey Williams and Dimitri have been here before. I think Dimitri will win this match and firmly set his sights on J2H. Keep in mind, if his sights are set on J2H, that doesn't mean he'll be facing the World Heavyweight Champion after Summer Extreme, right? Because Despair could walk out with that belt. Okay? But I do think Dimitri will put away Casey. Tag team match, Kira Fisher-Johnson and Mercedes Vargas taking on Jesse Salco and Sam Marlowe. They call it the Lethal Lottery, but we know this is not lethal or a lottery. This is building up to the six-woman match at Summer Extreme 4 for the World Bombshell Championship. I think Sam and Jesse will win this match. I don't know if I can see Kira and Mercedes coexisting as a team, and because of that, I think Sam and Jesse will win. That being said, Kira Fisher-Johnson is one of the greatest tag team wrestlers ever. So if anyone could pull a tag team win out of their ass, it would be Kira Fisher-Johnson. Veronica Taylor and Amy Marshall. We've seen this before a couple times. I think Amy will win this match pretty easily. Amy's a cut above Veronica at the moment. James Siskini will defend his roulette title against Ryan Keys. This is 3 weeks ago. I'd say Ryan Keys was going to win. All right, if this was on the heels of Into the Void, like this match probably should have been, I would say Ryan Keys would win. Ryan Keys has seemed like he's burnt a little bit. He did beat Chris Shipman a couple weeks ago, but we haven't heard much from him. He hasn't really been showing up to those shows. And Taschini is on fire. I think Taschini will win this match, and he'll look towards Summer Extreme to defend his title. Elders, the Elders versus the Monsters. Lord Rob and Samuel McPherson making their return to the SCW six-sided ring after a break. I think the Elders are going to win this match. I'm really high on this team. I thought they would win last week. I think they're going to beat the Monsters, beat the Aquins, and go on to face for round 2 at Summer Extreme. Interesting stuff. Rage and Marcus Reeves. Again, Marcus Reeves, I don't know if I feel like Rage is defending his title against a couple people who probably shouldn't be getting shots at it. Marcus Reeves, I think, is a fine competitor. His momentum got slowed a little bit when he lost to Cal Smith. And just look at this. He loses to Cal Smith, and next time he's on the card, he's, taking on Rage for the, wow. I lost my train of thought there. He's taking on Rage for the Internet Championship, right? Again, kind of weird stuff. I think that Rage will win. Marcus Reeves, to me, is a very good competitor. I just don't know if he's ready yet to take that step into the Internet Championship. So again, Ridge will be the winner here, but I would not be surprised if Marcus Reeves win. I would not be surprised if Marcus Reeves wins by some sort of DQ because Steve Ramone is guest commentator. Okay? And in the main event, we talked about this earlier, Roxy Johnson will get the shot at the Roulette Championship, an opportunity to become a Grand Slam champion as she takes on the Siren, Kate Steele, who is very quickly becoming one of the best Roulette champions ever. I don't. This is going to be a good match. Questionable booking again. I don't think Roxy has made the claim and earned on paper the victory. We all know when you look at her history and what she's accomplished, she certainly can do whatever she wants. But this is interesting because this is a match that I think could headline a pay-per-view, and we're going to have it on Climax Control. I think Kate will retain. That's just my gut instinct. But that doesn't mean that Roxy can't win. All right, if that's a cop-out answer, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Speaking of this week, we had a Twitter poll question of the week out there. And my question was, who will win the tag tournament? All right, will it be the Aquins? Will it be the Monstimals? Or will it be the Elders? Sorry, just throwing me off. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Do you hear all that rain out there? It's like a typhoon out there. Okay. Who will win the tag team tournament? Will it be the Aquins, the Monstimals, or the Elders? Elders came in third with 20%. Monstimals second with 33%. And 47%, nearly half the voting majority, picked the Aquins to win this tournament. Tommy Knox's pick is the one who got the least votes, and that's the Elders. I do think they're the best team. I think they've got something special. And I do see them challenging Team BJ at Summer Extreme. Let's go around the SCW universe a little bit and rumors. Very first one was actually sent in from Blanca Chastain. Zuri will be on hand for Climax Control this Sunday. Will she be alone, or will her new tag team partner be standing beside her? Find out on Sunday. Interesting. Very interesting. Mark Ward is, in fact, holding shareholders' meetings this week in Vegas, presumably to discuss the sale of a large portion of his shares. Right, we've talked about this a couple weeks. More things are leaking through, and he is, in fact, selling a chunk of his stock in SCW. Evie Bang reportedly is distancing herself from the imploding Bad Company. Right, Caleb Houston and Johnny Tsunami have looked terrible in action the past 2 times they've been in the ring. And maybe rightfully so, Evie is distancing herself. Scott Sanders will make his debut at Summer Extreme 4. Even though he has not officially signed a contract yet, expect him to do so in the next week or so. Because he will, in fact, be in action at Summer Extreme 4. I think the hang-up was SCW wanted him in action first, and Miles Blake, of course, said, no, this is my man. He's going to debut at the grandest stage he can at a pay-per-view. Kale Smith and Crystal Miller were reportedly seen together again in Lake Tahoe last week and Reno this week. More to these rumors. I thought they were just filth, flarn filth. But maybe, possibly, they are together. Who knows? Rumors are again circulating that Zelda Clark is a ring rat. Look, I don't know if this is true. Zelda seems like a lovely, lovely young lady. But the rumor keeps coming around. That's all I'm going to say. Despite recent losses, SCW management is still very high on both Amy Jane and Christina Bentley, and don't expect them to sour on them anytime soon. The same, however, cannot be said about Bad Company. Apparently, at least one person in the SCW decision-making room has soured on them big time. Joshua Aquin is apparently planning something big for Sunday night in Reno. He won't say what it is, but apparently it's going to be huge. Huge. Last but not least, Jackhammer 3 starts shooting in August. Expect Trey Green's contract to run out as planned when the clock strikes midnight after Summer Extreme 4. If this is actually true, then we will come to an end of an era as one of possibly the greatest SCW stars of all time hangs up his boots, here at least, in Vegas. That being said, it brings our show to the close, right? Our final segment of the morning. As always, is stock up and stock down. We're going to start with stock up. Very first is Team BJ, right? Ben Jordan and Jamie Dean, very quietly putting together a nice World Tag Team Championship run. They've looked very good, very fluid in the ring. And I was wrong. I thought they'd lose this past Sunday, and they didn't. And they looked very good in their win. So congrats to those guys. Next is Natalie McKinley. She's been a beast, right? I think 4 or 5 one-on-one victories in a row since her return. She will, in fact, meet Kate Steele at Summer Extreme. Whether or not that's for the Roulette Championship, we don't know yet. Either way, it will be a fantastic match. And again, she's looked great. Finally, stock up is Micah. Micah has looked like shit since she lost her belt. Pretty much just because she hasn't given a shit. And just judging by her win last week, it seems like she gives a shit again. And if she does give a shit again, to me, she's the immediate favorite to win that match at Summer Extreme. Finally, stock down. Very first is Alex Rush. I don't think Alex has ever won a match. To me, Alex is a fun guy. I'm a big Mr. Firecrotch fan. Put It In Me Mama's Bum is one of my favorite songs. But, it comes to time, if they're going to keep putting you on TV, you got to win a fucking match, bro. All right? And you look kind of bad, just saying. Second is Kane. I had huge hopes when Kane returned. And it really looked like this beginning part of his next run here is not doing that well. He strung together a couple of losses. If you asked me 4 weeks ago, who was going to challenge Rage at Summer Extreme for the Internet title, I would have said no question, Kane. And right now, I'm not sure. Right now, I'm thinking Steve Ramone. So, again, Kane's stock is a little bit down. And finally, again, stock down for the second week in a row is Bad Company. You guys lit the world on fire when you first showed up. You looked fantastic. I was getting a hard-on for tag team wrestling because of you guys. And ever since Into the Void, you've looked like shit. You've looked awful. And quite honestly, I'm starting to sour on you too. That's all we got this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. Again, thank you for all the guys that sent in all the questions. You made it for a very long show this week. I appreciate that. The longer Tommy Knox stays on the air, the better, as far as I'm concerned. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you have a great weekend. And for those of you that are butthurt and don't like the show, just do me a favor and do everyone else a favor and just go fuck yourselves.